Modern couples are moving away from windowless banquet halls. They are choosing locations that prioritize regional atmosphere and a sense of discovery. For years, the default solution for this has been the international destination wedding, booking a resort in places like Turkey or Thailand. But trying to move dozens of family members across borders introduces severe friction. You immediately face visa rejections, brutal currency devaluations against the dollar, and a guest list that shrinks drastically because people simply can't make the trip. And when you finally arrive, the promise of an exclusive resort often collides with the reality of peak tourist season. The international destination wedding frequently forces a heavy compromise. You have to choose between the exotic location you want and the people you actually want standing next to you. The alternative is keeping the event inside Pakistan's borders and relying on specialized regional agencies like National Planners of Pakistan to execute the event. This chart maps your options. The horizontal axis tracks guest count. The vertical axis measures scenic impact, from a traditional hall to an exotic destination. The upper left quadrant is your domestic destination zone, achieving high scenic impact without border friction for a manageable guest count. However, bypassing passport control doesn't mean you bypass logistics. You are still moving people, vendors, and materials across hundreds of miles. With environments ranging from high-altitude mountains to deserts, the challenge is determining which specific domestic location fits your budget and calculating exactly how much control you have to surrender to a planner to make it happen. A domestic destination wedding relies on delegating regional logistics to local experts who navigate these roads and vendor networks daily. The first tier of locations is the deep north, covering areas like Hunza, Skardu, and Swat. The visual payout is immediate. The massive scale of valleys and snow-capped peaks rivals premium European destinations, giving you an elite aesthetic backdrop. But getting this backdrop requires intensive coordination. You are managing multi-stage travel, booking flights that are highly sensitive to weather, and securing accommodations in remote towns with limited inventory. The terrain itself dictates exactly what kind of event you can hold here. Because of the rugged isolation, your guest list shrinks. This environment naturally excludes large extended networks and older relatives, forcing you to keep the count to a small group of able-bodied, close family and friends. You also have to factor in sudden weather changes that can delay flights or block roads, instantly upending a strict itinerary. The deep north delivers incredible visuals, but requires a mindset that embraces the specific variables of high-altitude travel over a rigid schedule. If that level of isolation carries too much risk, the next tier is the accessible locals, established hubs like Islamabad, Murree, and Natyagali. These areas have established infrastructure, which completely changes the scope of the event you can plan. Because hotels and vendor networks are readily available, you can host a traditional, larger guest list. You get the getaway atmosphere, safely including older relatives. Access is straightforward. Guests can drive directly to the venues on paved mountain roads. The trade-off is that easier access removes the hyper-exclusivity. During peak season, you will share the town and the views with heavy tourist traffic. There are also niche alternatives if you want exotic terrain without the altitude. Locations like the Cholistan Desert offer a flat, visually striking environment. Selecting an accessible location means choosing the comfort of higher guest volume over total seclusion. Operating in any of these tiers requires an all-inclusive model. National Planners of Pakistan bridges the gap between a wild location and a structured event. This matrix compares these locations based on logistics, planner reliance, and ideal guest count. Notice the planner reliance column. It remains high across every tier. The agency handles remote vendors, decor, and legal admin. For logistics difficulty, the planner's network absorbs the vetting burden. This introduces an uncomfortable reality for many couples. To make this work, you must stop trying to micromanage the granular details from hundreds of miles away. You also have to accept the financial realities of moving an event into the mountains or the desert. Transporting catering equipment, flowers, and sound systems into remote regions means travel allowances will fluctuate heavily. Budget flexibility is a strict requirement. Achieving a seamless exotic wedding requires you to step down as the event manager and step into the role of a trusting client. You first need to identify your primary wedding constraint. Are you prioritizing a specific aesthetic experience, or do you need to accommodate a large family? We can map this on a decision flowchart, starting with that exact question. If you are an experiential adventurer, someone who wants the best possible photos and is keeping the guest list strictly between 20 and 50 people, your path resolves at the Skardu and Hunza packages. You maximize your visual return, provided you prepare your guests for the rigors of travel. Conversely, if you are a traditionalist who needs that destination feel but has over 100 guests, including older relatives, your path leads to Islamabad or Natia Gali. You utilize the planner specifically to secure block accommodations and reliable local sourcing. A destination wedding succeeds when the venue you pick accurately matches your guest list tolerance for travel. Keeping your destination wedding domestic provides a higher scenic and cultural return on investment compared to fighting the friction of going abroad. It is a deliberate balance of navigating logistical realities to reach environments most people never see. Firm. Do not book a remote wedding in Pakistan if you need to dictate every tiny detail months in advance. The environment will not allow it. But do book this if you are willing to trade that control for professional curation and a backdrop that no traditional hall could ever replicate. Surrendering the logistics to localized experts is the mandatory trade for a celebration held in these environments.